Item Number SCP ZH-736 Security Level 3 Containment Class Safe Disruption Class Dark Risk Class Notice Special Containment Procedures SCP ZH-736 is contained in a locked safe of moderate risk objects in Site ZH-63. The Nintendo Switch game console originally used to perform the SCP-ZH-736 experiment was contained in the same containment unit and has been handed over to the RTF by 05 Curse of the Triforce, which was composed of experts from Razor ZH, Department of Petaphysics, and the Department of Information Technology for examination and debugging. All scheduled experiments of SCP-ZH-736 are currently being suspended indefinitely until the Department of Petaphysics and HMCL-ZH confirm that the object will not cause advanced narrative hazards. Description: SCP-ZH-736 is an anomalous The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game card. The origin of the item remains unknown. Before experiment ZH-736-361, the item is compatible with any functional Nintendo Switch game console and will not cause infectious hazards to affect the console's normal function. The appearance of the item is no different from other game cards of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. To avoid confusion, Foundation researchers have used a black marker to write ZH-736 on the plastic side of the item. The anomalous effects of SCP-ZH-736 mainly express on elements related to the game protagonist Link, and will appear only after the character buys his own house in Hateno Village. This plot also exists in normal game files. Among all the game files set in SCP-ZH-736, Object: Link's private diary, designated as SCP-ZH-736-1, will appear in Link's private house, which never appeared in other normal files. SCP-ZH-736-1 can be obtained by Link and stored in the backpack system, and will not disappear in the game. Deleting the anomalous code of SCP-ZH-736-1 will cause the game files unable to start or restart. If the player opens and browses SCP-ZH-736-1 after every in-game 6 a.m. in the morning, a few paragraphs written from Link's perspective will be displayed on the screen, describing the important activities in the past 24 in-game hours. These records suggest that the Link in SCP-ZH-736 has a certain extent of self-awareness and can rationalize the player's control to be his own will, and guide from Goddess Hylia. Note: Goddess Hylia is the goddess of creation in the settings of the Zelda series of the games, who creates the in-game world called Hyrule. If Link dies in the game, the contents of SCP-ZH-736-1 from the last save progress to the character's death event will disappear. The content of the record will be continued from the last save progress. Nevertheless, Link seems to have memory imprints on the previous death event in the game, and will feel uneasy about the places where he has died frequently, regarding these false memories as nightmares or ominous signs. Experiment ZH-736-361 is believed to be the main cause of the drastic changes of the internal narrative settings in SCP-ZH-736, which led to the collapse of the game system and redacted. SCP-ZH-736 is currently locked and not allowed to be used in any experiment. Addendum ZH-736-1 Excerpts from SCP-ZH-736-1 Experiments. Record File ZH-736-1-2 Activity Overview. Link left Hateno Village and arrived at the Dueling Peak stable on foot. The major activities on the way are mushroom gathering and attacking pig-headed humanoid hostile creatures called bokoblins. ZH-736-1 content. Need to find a horse. So many mushrooms here. Need more weapons. Record file. ZH-736-110. Activity overview. Link took 3 days to set off from the Hyrule Ridge and arrived at Vito Village for the first time in this game file. Killed a bear on the way. ZH-736-1 content. There are bears here. It's a bit cold. I arrived at Vito Village, where there are many birdmen. Ember said I should be able to see an old comrade here. Maybe I should ask a passersby. Never mind. This place makes me dizzy. Some more important thing I need to deal with. Need more heart containers. Note: the researchers deliberately manipulate Link to wander over and over in Vito Village and interact with no NPC. It is speculated that Link will rationalize the inconsistency between his thoughts and behaviors. Record file. ZH-736-133. Activity overview. Researchers deliberately let Link be repeatedly killed by the same enemy 10 times on the Akala Tower, leaving the region afterwards. ZH-736-1 content. Akala Tower is dangerous. It feels like I've come here for many times before. The repetitive dreams and the goblin had died every time. Should go find a horse and leave here. Note: the record shows the potential existence of memory imprinting phenomenon. More experiments are needed. Record file. ZH-736-149. Activity overview. Researchers spent 7 days completing Stranded on Eventide trial on Eventide Island, and were killed 10 times in the process. Researchers meant to not open the 7th-day records of SCP ZH-736-1 until the trial is accomplished. ZH-736-1 content. I came to an overseas island called Eventide Island and accepted the forced trial of the Sheikah Guru. Except for the Sheikah slate and the paraglider, all materials I've ever had were taken away. This would get tough. This place is dangerous. The island has 4 camps and a one-eyed giant. So many monsters. More and more resources gathered. Found all 3 platforms for orbs today. 2 orbs left. Today I brought down the Hinox with bombs. Running everywhere is exhausting. 1 orb left. Goddess Hadia, please show me the path. Today is the 7th day. I finally completed the trial on Eventide Island and entered the Sheikah Shrine. I feel like it's been a decade. It's strange. I should have never come to this place before. Why are the feelings of making survival on the island and dying here feel so familiar? Maybe my memory 100 years ago starts to recover. I want to leave here. Note: in this mission of a normal file, all of Link's equipment and resources will be taken away by the system, with only the paraglider and the Sheikah slate left with him. In the SCP ZH-736 files, SCP ZH-736-1, Link's diary, will not be taken away either. Record file ZH-736-167. Activity overview. Link arrived in the southwest desert zone of the map, heading along to Kalakala Bazaar to meet a character and purchase a Gerudo set in order to enter Gerudo Town. After getting the Gerudo female set, one internal clip will be played. Link will find that the character is actually a man, dressing to be a Gerudo woman, as a gust of wind blowing off the veil of the character. ZH-736-1 content. I arrived at the Kalakala Bazaar today, and Goddess Halia guided me to get to the top of the big rock, where I met someone who could provide me with suitable clothes to enter the city. She. Note, originally recorded so, it is currently unknown whether a strike-through text format is set in the codes of Breath of the Wild system. Praised me for looking good under the Gerudo set. But I just couldn't reply her. You're beautiful as well. Note, in the general plot, if Link tried to enter Gerudo Town without wearing the Gerudo set, he will be stopped by the female guards at the town gate. In the experiment, Link did not know the rule previously, but obtained the required set ahead of knowing the rule. He attributed the player's deliberate guidance to be guidance from the goddess Hylia. Record ZH 736-185. Activity Overview. Researchers deliberately make Link gather natural resources in barren rainforest for 3 days, deliberately avoiding all combat activities with enemies. ZH 736-1 content. The recent fightings are tiring me. I just want to pick fruit for a few days in the southern jungle. No fighting. Note, the same record repeat 3 times. Record file. ZH 736-102. Activity Overview. Link obtained 1 of 12 memories of Princess Zelda in the Spring of Power. ZH 736-1 content. Today, in the Spring of Power, the goddess Hylia endowed me with Princess Zelda's memory 100 years ago. I now can recall it. Her power cannot be awakened 100 years ago. She hates herself. I also saw her shadow a century ago, as I successfully retrieved the Master Sword, but she could never awaken her strength. She hates me. She should hate me. Note, the emotion expressed in the record is consistent with the feelings game plot tried to provoke. The order, content, and quantity of these memories seem to affect Link's integrity of view on the whole picture of events in in-game century ago. Record file ZH 736-114. Activity Overview. Within 24 in-game hours, the researchers manipulated Link to destroy 10 monster camps in a row. ZH 736-1 content. Kill! 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 Better weapons! More resources! Kill! Kill them all! Note, record content will be influenced by deliberately manipulated behaviors. Record file ZH 736-153. Activity Overview. Researchers deliberately manipulate Link to make dozens of teleportations between different Sheikah shrines and towers. ZH 736-1 content. I want to go here. 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 Repeated content. Where shall I go, goddess? 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 Repeated contents. Sheikah's slate is broken. Sheikah's slate is broken. Sheikah's slate is broken. Sheikah's slate is broken. Repeated contents. Help! 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 Thank you, goddess. I vomited. Note, the message will change after 20 teleportations. The character seems to be aware of excessive teleportations and try to rationalize the anomaly. It is worth noting that there is no picture of Link vomiting in the game, but the text "I vomited" is displayed at the end of the message. This implies that the screen images and the narrative reality is likely to be inconsistent under unknown mechanisms. Record file ZH 736-167. Activity Overview. Researchers deliberately caused Link to die repeatedly in the Sheikah Shrine. Then we teleported the character to the entrance of the temple after 24 in-game hours. Then opened the SCP ZH 736-1. ZH 736-1 content. This place creeps me. I should have been here only once. Why does the place give me so much uneasiness? Note, the presence of memory imprinting phenomenon is almost confirmed. Record file ZH 736-185. Activity overview. Researchers lead link to Satori Mountain when the four-legged animal character Lord of the Mountain appeared in the game and successfully tamed the animal character. The researchers then controlled the complex to go to the nearest stable and try to register the animal with the stable owner. In general files, such a situation is impossible to complete. The stable owner will respond, "Isn't this a notorious Lord of the Mountain? You will bring misfortune to all of us," and refuse to register the creature. In SCP ZH-736, the animal character can be registered, but the name of the Lord of the Mountain will show DMRG and cannot be changed. ZH-736-1 content. Today I successfully tamed the beast known as the Lord of the Mountains and took him to the outskirts stable. The stable owner told me that it would bring misfortune to everyone, but he generously let me register the creature. This creature told me that its name is Demrosh. Note, originally recorded so. This is the first time a subscript context appears in the game. It is currently unknown whether the text format is embedded in the system of Breath of the Wild. I decided to listen to it. Note, the experiment is highly noticed by the Department of Metaphysics, redacted. Record file ZH 736-1-206. Activity overview. Researchers asked Link to come to an island in Hylia River and accepted Watch Out for the Flowers trial. In this trial, the temple that Link wants to reach is located in the center of a flower bed. A woman called Magda will severely ask Link not to trample on the flowers she carefully cultivated. If Link violates the rules more than 3 times, Magda will fiercely attack Link and cause him to lose 1 heart of health points. The researchers deliberately triggered Magda's attack mechanism repeatedly, causing Link to be in a state of endangered health, then left the place. ZH 736-1 content. It took me a whole day to attempt to arrive at the temple on the island. This French woman asked me harshly not to step on a flower bed. Once I stepped on it, I need to start all over again. I am angry, so I've been deliberately running into the flower garden, trying to test her patience. I didn't expect this village girl to be so fierce. She attacked me frantically, and data expunged. I didn't understand why I was so bad and stepped repeatedly on the flower bed and angered her. Page was torn. Note, originally recorded so. I'm tired, Goddess Hylia. Please, let me reach the center of the temple peacefully. I quit. Note, it is the first time to observe that the content of diary is and can be touched and affected by other in-game characters. Record file ZH 736-1-254. Activity overview. Researchers instruct Link to accomplish a Guardian, a type of large autonomous ancient robot in the game, with laser function and spider-like movement ability, hunting activities for 2 in-game days. Died 5 times in the process. ZH 736-1 content. Goddess Hylia caused me in her heart to go and destroy all the Guardians outside the Hyrule Castle. They are terrible ancient weapons that once destroyed our homeland. It took me 2 whole days to complete this mission. Although they will surely be reborn after the Blood Moon, I feel extremely honored for completing the goddess's task. Sometimes I feel that certain memories are guiding me. Don't do this. Be careful of the enemy over there. It's as if I've experienced the feeling of being burnt to death by their lasers. Are these the return of my painful memories 100 years ago? Record file ZH 736-1-298. Activity overview. The researcher instructed Link to accomplish the last one of 3 Lome Labyrinth trials set in the game. These mazes are huge artificial buildings engraved on the game map and embedded in the landscape. Link can see the unnatural patterns of these structures on the map displayed on the Sheikah slate. ZH 736-1 content. I finally completed the last trial of the Rome Labyrinth on the map. A large number of guardians almost killed me. However, completing the mission and cracking the rumors make me feel glorious and proud. These labyrinths impressed me so much. Did the ancient Sheikah mentors really create these great buildings with their own power? Record file ZH 736-1 359. Activity overview. Researchers direct Link to arrive at the 4 border corners of the Hyrule map and try to cross the border of the game. In general files, the edges of the playable area shown to be visible outer plateaus, wide deserts, and infinite ocean. However, when the player controls Link to head to the border, Link will encounter an invisible barrier in the screen and cannot continue to move forward. The system will also remind the player with an on-screen message, "You can't go any further." ZH 736-1 content. I suddenly want to explore the world beyond Hyrule. I know the princess has not been saved yet, but what is it out there? Can the Sheikah slate provide the information out there? The result makes me wonder more. When I tried to swim forward, I found that my feet become disobedient, and I couldn't swim further. When I tried to climb over Mount Agat, my legs feel numb. When I tried flying over the deep northern gulf beyond Akala, a strong wind blew me back. When I tried to reach further in the Gerudo Desert, the sand seals refused to head further. What does the outside world look like? Does the goddess intend to keep me in Hyrule? I decide to complete my destiny of a royal guard and champion first. There will be more time for me to explore after these duties are accomplished. Note: the experiment suggests that the on-screen notices, such as "You can't go any further," or "You can't have more melee weapons," etc., can only be read by the player, while Link himself cannot perceive these messages. The activities in the experiment might better provoke Link's temporary curiosity. The plan of modifying the system code to let Link fully explore the outer settings has been approved. Record file ZH 736-1 361. Activity overview. Researchers modified the settings of SCP ZH 736 so that Link can leave the game's restricted geographic range, being able to fully explore the settings beyond the playable area. In the general file, the Nintendo developers placed coarse ground color and landscape silhouettes in these outer settings, the resolution of which is significantly worsened compared with the playable area. The silhouette of certain gigantic artificial landscapes, such as the 3 Rome Labyrinths and Experiment ZH 736, 211, 269, and 298, also appear in these outer settings. These patterns are so specific that Link can recognize at a glance. After the modification is completed, the researchers instruct Link to cross the map boundary and observe the landscape of outer settings with a paraglider. The researchers make sure that Link can clearly observe the silhouettes of specific landscapes within the range of playable areas, then manipulated him to fly to the extreme distance. ZH 736-1 content. Goddess Hylia, why? The shattered patterns and broken shadows. What have I seen? Is my world a hoax? Oh, the goddess does not exist. She created the beautiful Hyrule, but imprisoned us in a shell of void and mirages. The goddess does not exist. Note: originally recorded so. It is the first time that SCP ZH 736-1 records displaying small fonts. Note: the distant sky above the horizon is present to be dark red. Note: This feature has similarity to the experimental accidents of SCP Beep and SCP Beep. More information is limited to clearance for personnel. When Link approaches the Northwest Ocean beyond the Big Continent, this setting doesn't show up in normal game files. All manipulations cannot make Link move on and go further. Record File ZH 736-1362 Activity Overview. Researchers try to manipulate Link to go to Hyrule Castle and attempt to resolve the main quest of the game. Researchers found that Link's fluency of movements and speed of responses become lagged. Some of Link's intrusive combat functions, such as Flurry Rush and Bullet Time, are completely disabled. Link's stamina consumption rate is significantly faster than usual. The character becomes unable to complete all kinds of high-intensity physical activities. ZH 736-1 Content. Meaningless. I should go save Princess Zelda. Why should I? Note: all attempts to reload the previous files and kill Link deliberately in order to erase his memories are invalid. The modified code used in Experiment ZH 736-361 cannot be debugged or reversed. The effect caused by the experiment is considered irreversible. Record File ZH 736-1-365 Activity Overview. Researchers try to manipulate Link, but all the functions of manipulating characters are disabled. The only main function is to switch the player's viewing angle on the surrounding environment. Link sits on a posture that is not normally present in normal game files, with his head lowering. The researchers soon discovered that Link's face was missing. In the preview image of the backpack system, Link's whole person preview image also disappeared. ZH 736-1 Content. No content. Note: in this save, it can be observed that the dark red tones of the sky is disseminating slowly, while the dissemination range is still outside the bounds of the Hyrule area. The direction is the same with the further exploration direction in Experiment ZH 736-361. Record File ZH 736-1-366 Activity Overview. Researchers reopened the game file and found that Link was not sitting in the original position. The surrounding environment all fell into deep dark red. The screen does not show any functional images or screen data of the Sheikah slate. The backpack system cannot be activated, except for 360-degree rotation and vertical controls of the point of view. The viewing spot cannot be moved. When the angle of view turns to the small river behind, Link's corpse can be seen lying down in the small river, with his head removed for unknown reasons. No trace of Link's head can be seen from this angle of view. ZH 736-1 Content. Not applicable. Note: this experiment was quickly terminated under the instruction of the HMCL ZH. This is the last experiment record of the game file. All subsequent experiments on SCP ZH 736 must be approved by HMCL ZH and the Department of Parametaphysics. All current experimental projects have been suspended indefinitely.